Many parents worry about traveling with very young children, especially if they're going on a plane and the ride's going to be pretty long. So today I thought I'd make a video on the strategies you can use to prepare your child. These strategies are really useful for younger children. Um, so from the time they're 2, 3, going up until older, 10, 9. So one of the first steps you can do is to visualize your destination. I used these strategies with my younger daughter when she was 3, and we were going to Hawaii. So we knew the trip would take between 12 and 24 hours, counting stopovers and time change. So the first thing we did is visualize our destination. Beforehand, we started preparing for this a year ahead of time, but it doesn't mean you need a year. So you look at YouTube videos on your destination, the hotel you're going to stay in, the various places you're going to visit, and start dreaming and enjoy making up stories about what you would be doing once you're at your destination. Look at travel guide books, or magazines, even apps on your phones regarding your destination. Look at them together, talk about how much fun you're going to have, talk about what you'll do over there. Just let your imagination run wild. The next step you can do is visualize the plane. Obviously, most of your kids, if they're tiny, might not have been on a plane, so you're going to make use of your imagination. You'll talk about the trip, about the plane ride, how much fun it's going to be. Describe takeoff, landing, the clouds, what turbulence feels like, flight attendants, pilots, etc. Give them a full visual of the plane ride. And then explain to them what the plane ride will be like, or the plane itself, what it's going to be like. So how the seats recline and you can sleep, how there are little tablets to eat on, little tables I mean, where you can draw and play, mini screens to watch a movie from, tiny washrooms, etc. Then you can simulate the plane ride through imaginary play. You can pretend the plane is your staircase or even use the living room couch. So you can even build a fake plane with boxes or cubes or blankets. It doesn't matter. Kids have tons of imagination. And you don't need to invest money on buying simulated toys. So for example, we used our steps as the seats of the plane, and the landing area between the 2 floors were the cargo area where we would put our luggage or our toys. So what about packing? While you're doing this game and playing at home, use backpacks. It doesn't matter what you use. And let them pack the bags with you. And they can put their favorite things. They can bring their pets, put stuffies, toys. They can invite special people. It doesn't really matter that they won't bring any of these things with them, so don't start worrying and panicking and being, oh no, you can't bring this on the plane. Let them play, let them imagine. The sky's the limit. This is not the time to set limits on their play. It will just frustrate them and make them think the plane ride's going to just be an awful thing. So you want to make the experience positive, have fun, and build awesome memories while you're playing. And it's even better if the whole family can be involved in this kind of play. So the whole family should go on this pretend trip. Sometimes it'll be mom and dad, sometimes just mom, just dad, sometimes the nanny or the babysitter can hop on the plane. It really doesn't matter. Just have a blast pretending. And as I said, don't worry so much what they can really bring on the real plane. Kids live in the present moment and they have fun. They won't hold you to bringing the family dog, the cat, or the nanny. So really enjoy it while you're playing with them. This is a slide, a picture that I took of one of the trips we made where my daughter literally brought all her stuffies. on the couch, and you might see on the floor in bags. This was a trip to Hawaii, and she was having a ball. And then you can also create your own bedtime stories about your trip. Let the story include the whole process. So packing the bags, driving to the airport, waiting in line for check-in, customs, the magic x-ray machine, waiting some more, boarding, walking in that special tunnel, taking off, landing, and all the adventures in between. So the meals, the tiny washrooms, watching a movie, walking down the aisle, snuggling with mom or dad, looking at the clouds through the tiny windows. Just let your imagination run wild while you create that little story for them. So as I said, let your imagination run wild. Make the story magical, colorful, fun, and full of wonder. And have your kids participate in the storytelling process by asking questions. Like, what do you think happened next? Who was there? What did we eat on the plane? What did we eat in the restaurant? What did we see in the x-ray machine? What was hiding in the bag? So make the characters in the story alive and in a way that your kids will also identify with them. So make it like there's a mom and a dad, the little children, and it doesn't have to be them or you and dad. Make them fictitious characters. So while telling the story, you can also talk about the discomforts that are possible on the plane. They were tired, couldn't fall asleep, but it was too much noise. But then in your story, show the characters overcoming those difficulties and coping with them and what they did to cope. When you're going to make up stories, don't hesitate to say that the character is tired, maybe uncomfortable, and show problem solving in a better way instead of mimicking a full-blown tantrum. Basically, this will help your kids visualize what you're hoping for. Kids love repetition. I'm sure you've noticed with your toddlers, they often want the same story every night. So keep retelling the story over and over again until you leave the trip. Obviously, if you're planning 6 months ahead of time, you don't need to tell this story every single night. Just do it a few times a week. But if you're really close to destination, then you increase the departure. And trust me, they really won't get bored, and they will make it more colorful as time passes. And often they will predict what comes next. This type of visualization is a form of rehearsal, and it helps their brain process and integrate the information so that when it actually happens, it's as if they've been there already. And when practicing visualization, the brain can't tell the difference between reality and fiction. And this is why athletes do a lot of visualization and they get positive results on performance. And this whole process of play, storytelling, really it's all about bonding and strengthening that relationship between you and your child, building trust, predictability, routines, rhythm, and this will really help them cope with the long plane ride. So repetition is key. It fosters safety and security. It allows them to know what to expect, and it's a lot less scary. Planning and laying it all out ahead of time is really not wasted time or foolish play. When they know what to expect next, it really reduces anxiety and emotional outbursts. I can't promise you they will have no tantrums, no emotional ups and downs, but at least you're reducing the likelihood of it happening or making your trip the trip from hell. When you simulate the plane ride, And when you will be in the plane ride itself, alternate seating arrangements to, for takeoff, landing, move things around, switch up window seat, aisle seat, window seats. Be close to mom, then close to dad, or whoever is on the plane with them. Just take turns, just to create some changes in the plane ride, especially if it's a very long ride. Another important thing you can do, or should do, is bring an entertainment bag. And here are just a few ideas of what you can bring. Obviously all small sized, and make sure it's safe for the plane and it will pass security. So for example, wax crayon and papers, Play-Doh, manipulatives such as koosh balls, finger puppets, tiny books, a small pouch with band-aids, bubble wraps, and stickers they can play with, dental floss and Cheerios so they can make a necklace and then they can eat it. Learning chopsticks and cotton balls. So with the chopsticks they can play a game where they pick up as many cotton balls as they can. You can bring a map, so world map, so you can trace where the plane is at in the sky. And as you move in time, you trace the line longer and longer. And then they can see how the plane is moving and how they're getting closer and closer to their destination. You can bring miniature farm animals and a miniature farm. Schleich makes them. You can bring an iPad with movies on it, miniature dolls, small dolls, or stuffing, Lego storybooks you can read to them, apps on your iPad or phone that has games or stories. These are just a few ideas, and I'm sure you can find many more online. As a side note, having little children, the last thing you want to do is have anyone or everyone get sick. Obviously, their sleep schedule will be interrupted, the time change, so it makes them more susceptible to getting sick. So you want to kill those germs. So before you leave with your kids, you can make a homemade mist they can breathe during the plane ride. So it really needs to be tiny so that security will allow you to bring a little bottle, and then you just spray it on your face. So obviously you'll need to practice this at home so they don't freak out on the plane. And the kids can prepare the special potion with you, and you can make a whole story about it, that it's a magic potion that comes from the fairies, or a special person. It really doesn't matter. Just adapt it to your own family so that they're part of the process of making this special potion. And when you'll ask them to sniff it, they will comply. So again, as I said, use this mist while you practice at home. What I've put in the mist is basically only purified water and a few citrus essential oils, so lemon, grapefruit, tangerine, orange. So it smells really good, and you mix a few drops in there, and it's antibacterial, antiviral. Another option is to place a few drops of lavender, peppermint, and lemon essential oils on a silk handkerchief, and you have everyone sniff it throughout the flight. This too will kill germs. I've used this for years since my daughter's been 1. We've been flying, and we've never gotten sick, whether it's going on a trip or returning from the trip. Planes are full of germs, trust me. Finally, you do want them to sleep on the plane. If it's a 1-hour flight, probably not, but if it's a really long flight, you'll want them to sleep. So always remember that too much screen time agitates children and can delay and interrupt the production of melatonin, which is a hormone that helps promote sleep naturally. So time to use electronics accordingly, and so follow their normal sleep cycle, and try to stop using screens at least an hour before the time you want them to start falling asleep. Another good strategy is to give them warm milk or breastfeed them, and follow your regular bedtime routine, but it's just in an alternate So if you're in the plane in the evening and you usually start the bedtime routine after dinner, just do the same, but it's just tweaked and it's on the plane. So crazy making food. Avoid activating food that'll rile them up and have them running all over the aisles, because you know it won't always be possible. So avoid activating food or treats that contain too much sugar, too much caffeine. Try to bring your own healthy snacks, and that way you know what they're eating. And you can even integrate this in your role play when you do it at home again, so that when they do it in real flight, it won't be a surprise. And they won't be distracted by the crappy snacks maybe flight attendants will be offering you. And they'll get used to eating your own food. So avoid things with too much sugar, food coloring, caffeine. Carbs are okay, but later in the day, carbs are known to increase the level of sleep-inducing tryptophan. So if you really want them to be sleepy, give them more carbs towards a time that's closer to the bedtime. Finally, I found a few sleep-inducing snacks like milk, banana and yogurt, apple and cheese, sticks, peanut butter and whole grain crackers, healthy muffins, cereal and milk. So not too much protein, but a little bit is okay. So I hope all these tips will be helpful to you. If you have any questions, don't be shy to contact me on Facebook or on my website. And I really do hope you have a wonderful trip, just the way we did. Our trip was 24 hours, and although my daughter did get tired and uncomfortable, it was smooth sailing, no freakouts, no tantrums. It went really well, and I hope these tips will help you just as much. You can connect me on my Facebook page or Facebook private group called Parenting Wisdom. You can get a free ebook on my website, drmadrigrano.com. Thank you so much for watching.